Okay, everyone. What I'd like to do in this first video is just kind of review the progress we made last week and just kind of discuss a little bit more. I received a lot of questions from specific students, individual students asking for some clarification on number 4 for the assignment. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go over it. So here is my tab. I called it New Cause, No Outliers. So the outliers are removed, and I'm starting with the descriptives. So as you can see, we know it is because make sure you guys are always updating this. Descriptive statistics, n equals 357, which means my outliers are removed. Over here, I've got the open percent. I'm going to create a new table over here. I'm going to do that in a moment, just to double check things. Here is by fiscal year. This was created earlier on. I did add these 2 additional rows down here, in which I've got the average for the initial 2 years and then the 5-year average, so the 2017 to 2021. This is going to become more relevant for the work we do this week. So I'm just doing that right there so we can do a comparison. Had the new cause codes. The big thing was to create the new cause and then do the Pareto analysis to figure out what are we going to focus on. In this case, the highest 3 represented an equivalency of 84.9%. It was 80. It's 24 of the total, but because the new total with the outliers removed is 28, I divided 24% by 28%, and I get my Pareto. So I'll be focusing on the top 3 based on new cause. Based on the accident source description, again, this is resorted by RPN after the outliers are removed, so you have to resort. So this is resorted. See, the original rank was different. So my 1, 2, 3 is different. It's actually the 1, 2, and 4 when the outliers were in. Down here I did the same thing. I've got my 1 through 6. They're my Pareto. These were the originals. Interestingly enough, it's the same categories for accident source description, just in a different order. And down here you can see my top 6 represent 75% equivalency, so it's 21% of the 28%. For the accident department, that shouldn't be location. I'm going to change that. Hopefully you all caught that as well. The Pareto is 28. So if I come down here, what did my top 28 get? About 74% equivalency, 21 of the 28. So then we got to look at the outliers. So I have 30 outliers removed. And this is a little bit different than what I had done previously. So hopefully you all can kind of understand what I'm trying to do here. I've got my original. This is the original subtotal. This is a portaling from my descriptives tab. I've got the subtotals here. So this is just the outliers that I removed. And this is the percent of the subtotal. All right. And the final question on the last assignment was, how different are the outliers from the general set? And so what I did is I took sort of the top. Here's the top 4. What did they represent? I think it's over here. I can shrink this down so we can see it. So the top 40% of the categories represent a big portion, over 95%, around 93% of what the outliers are. So is there a difference between my outliers and what I'm going to be focusing on? No, over 90% is covered, but that's for the new cause. Let's go to the accident source or accident description. Is it a lot? It is. You see here for 37% of what I would focus on, the outliers represent 85% by count, but over 90% for the amount that was paid. And then this is the percent of the original. It's considerable. You can see how much influence those have. For the accident location, this is not a great, I took the top 26. We're still well over 90%. So in that fourth question, what you could really show is that, I can't speak. My neighbor's mowing his lawn. It's driving me nuts. Sorry. The percent of the outliers is considerable. So whether they're not considered or if they were kept in, they would have been counted. They're not unique. And for this week, I'm assigning you 2 additional papers to read, in addition to 3 lecture videos that were guest speakers. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to end this pretty soon because my neighbors are driving me nuts. So that's the answer to number 4. That they're similar. And I want you to read the two papers and see what you think. So just to go a little bit further, I'm scrolling back up. I created this new table. I want to see what is the potential increase per fiscal year, which would align with some of the things I had talked about last week. I just want to go a little bit further into it. So I created this table directly adjacent to my this table here with the fiscal years that we would, plot for count and total paid and average paid to see what the trend is. So let's see how the trend would be influenced by open claims. So the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out the ranges to see what those are. This isn't part of my table. This is going to be part of what I type in. So what I do is I go up to my data. Again, this is outliers removed. So I'm going to go to the top. And as you can see, there's a gap where my outliers used to be. Yeah? And what I did is I copied and pasted the header table down here, because this is where they begin now on row 32. And then what I did is I turned this row, this header row that I moved down, into a filter. And then I sorted by fiscal year. So 2010, then 2011, and then the big gap in 2017. And what I'm doing is I'm going to look and see what the rows are to capture. That's my ranges. So my range for 2010 is row 32. I scroll down to row 85. That's my 2010. My 2011 is row 86 to 137. My next one, which is 2017, is row 138 to 173, and then 174, and on and on and on. And you make sure that the exchange between the fiscal years are consistent. I'll kind of show what I did here. So row 32 to 85, 86 to 137, 138, 173, 174, and so on. All the way down to 388, which is the final row. So for the number of open, my open or closed are AC, row AC, or column AC, so I've got that there. My fiscal year is column H. So to count them, I'm going to go equal count if AC 32 to AC 85 is open, and it counts it. So there were 0 in that year. Now I can't click and drag because I'm typing in individual stuff. But this is just what we have to do. Count if AC 86 AC. And if you wanted to, look for other attributes within, a certain sort, this is what you do. And I used to do a lot more of this in my older videos. And notice I have to put open in parentheses. And if your numbers are a little bit different, just check to make sure that you are typing in the correct numbers. Because some of you are like, oh, my numbers are a little bit different. And you know what? It's just like usually one row is off. Or maybe when you entered your fiscal years, you did it a little bit different than me. And I want you to check on that, because it's not Excel doing something weird. It's you typing in something weird. All right. Gotta check our work. Hopefully this equals, I believe, 23. It does. Clean that up. Check my work then. Because 23 matches up with the count up here that's 23. Well, I added this as well. Versus the original versus the outlier numbers open. I'm just trying to capture better what's going on. All right, so percent open. So it'd be equal to this divided by, and I mean the number is 23. So I'm just going to type in 23. And of course, it's going to be 0 because there's 0 count. All right. Run this all the way down. Yeah, we're counting 100% of what's missing. Yep. Turn all this into an 8. Percent for fiscal year. This is going to be interesting. So this is AB divided by S. So equal to AB, which is this one right here, divided by, and I got to scroll over to S, which is right here. Hit return. Finally, I can click and drag after I turned it into a percentage all the way down. Interesting, interesting. Yep. Percent. So the dollars of the total incurred from these, this is just equal, and I think I can go sum if H 32 to H 85 is this, then AA, oh, no, not AA. Yeah, AA. Oh, that's interesting how that lined up. AA 32 to AA 3D8. I think that's right. And it's just giving me the total incurred. Oh, wait. Let's see if I did that right. In my mind, I was a little confused. Okay, I got to freeze. If I'm just going down the 32 and 85. Oh, I'm not going anywhere, so that can just go, and I'm just freezing that and that. Because I'm not going left to right, I'm just going up and down. So let's see what we have here. If H32 to H85, why did I do that? It should be 32 to 388. Well, let's try it. All right. This is the total incurred. So there's going to be a difference between it and what was actually paid. So I'm going to go equal minus, and we're going to go to total paid. It's W. Is it minus W? It is. No difference. Well, there would be no difference because there's no open claims. So let's see. All right. Interesting. Interesting. So this doesn't include outliers. Outliers are down below. That's different. But just for the open claims, here's what I did. I better explain this to you. So what's the difference between total incurred and total paid? Well, when we have an open claim, such as we have right here, what they have is they have other amounts to account for the difference, what they expect to pay when it's going to get closed. So this one's $17,000. You know, this one is $17,000 versus what is already been total paid, which is $202. So what I'm estimating is if it closes at the amount they expect, these fiscal years are going to go up by this amount. And as you can see, it kind of goes up, you know, so it would add more curve. It would add a steeper forecasted number. And that's just what I wanted to know. And so as we go through and start removing items, we might be able to recover some of this to find out what's going on. I just think it's interesting. I just wanted to look a little bit further into it. Typically, I do it when I'm just doing the analysis by year, but I didn't do it for this year because it's a unique data set. But at this point, I just wanted to kind of see what it was. So in the next video, we're going to get into actually focusing on our priorities. We'll start with the accident department. I'm going to show you that we're not going to continue with it. And then in the videos after that, we're going to go a little bit further and focus just on accident source description. I think that's all we're going to be able to do with this particular data set this semester. Unless you're working on your own, then you could actually focus on accident department. I'm going to show you how to do it.